With the DITRA-HEAT-PS and DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS peel and stick membranes, warm floors have never been easier to achieve. The peel and stick application method is an easier and faster way to install the membrane without thinset. The DITRA-HEAT-PS and DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS membranes offer all the same benefits as our original DITRA-HEAT membranes, so you are still getting uncoupling, waterproofing, vapor management, and support load distribution. DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS also offers sound control and an integrated thermal break for faster floor warming response times over concrete. With the Schluter-DITRA-HEAT system, the benefits of tile are enhanced with the comfort of electric floor warming to bring a touch of luxury into any room of the home. Let's take a look at the system components for the DITRA-HEAT-PS. The DITRA-HEAT-PS and DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS membranes are available in both rolls and sheets. Both membranes feature a cutback stud structure with an anchoring fleece and self-adhesive backing. The peel and stick membranes work with our heating cables, thermostats, and power modules. The DITRA-HEAT-E-HK are twisted pair heating cables that are specifically designed for integration into the DITRA-HEAT uncoupling membrane. They are available in both 120-volt and 240-volt versions and a range of lengths. DITRA-HEAT-E thermostats are digital thermostats with remote floor temperature sensors that control the heating cable's operation. They feature a Class A ground fault circuit interrupter and support both 120-volt and 240-volt cables. There are several options available, including a Wi-Fi thermostat, a smart thermostat, as well as programmable and non-programmable versions. The DITRA-HEAT-E-RR power module may be used with any of the DITRA-HEAT-E thermostats shown below. For the DITRA-HEAT-E-RS1 smart thermostat, the DITRA-HEAT-E-RRS is used. The power modules allow for a single point of control in large floor applications when the heating load exceeds the 15-amp thermostat limit. Combined, the DITRA-HEAT components produce a simple and effective system to provide comfortable and durable tile floors. Let's take a look at how to install the DITRA-HEAT-PS and DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS in conjunction with the system components. First things first, always refer to the Schluter-DITRA-HEAT Installation Handbook, which includes comprehensive installation guidelines and warranty criteria. After finding the applicable details and confirming that all requirements can be met, we start planning the required materials and quantities. Using the DITRA-HEAT estimator at Schluter.com or on the Schluter app is a great place to start. The substrate must be clean, even, and load-bearing. Any leveling of the subfloor must be done prior to installing DITRA-HEAT-PS or DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS. Sweep the floor to remove any debris. For wood substrates, verify that subfloor panels are properly fastened to framing members. Tightly butted or tented seams must be addressed prior to installation. Clean any dust from the substrate with a damp sponge. For concrete substrates, remove any films or curing compounds. Any standing water must be removed prior to installation. It's also important to keep a perimeter movement joint throughout the tile assembly. One option, as shown here, is to use a perimeter seal product. Leaving space between the membrane and restraining surfaces during installation is another option. Measure and cut the membrane using a utility knife or scissors. It can help to draw a pencil line when dry fitting, so that all subsequent rows of the membrane align. Remove the transparent release liner from the fleece side of the membrane. Apply the DITRA-HEAT peel and stick to the floor, adhesive side down. The membrane can be easily repositioned before applying pressure. Solidly embed the matting into the substrate using a float, screed trowel, or DITRA roller. Proper installation results in full contact between the adhesive and substrate. Larger scrap pieces can be reused elsewhere in your installation. But it is important to align the studs on the top of the matting to help make subsequent heating cable installation easier. Continue installing the membrane, removing the release liner and embedding the adhesive side to the substrate. The installation of the membrane is now complete. Painter's tape can be used to mark the areas where fixtures will be placed, to help determine cable placement in the next steps. DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS is installed in the same manner. Measure and cut the membrane. Remove the transparent release liner from the fleece side of the peel and stick membrane. Apply the membrane to the floor, adhesive side down. The membrane can be easily repositioned before applying pressure. Solidly embed the membrane using a float or the DITRA roller. Once again, larger scrap pieces can be reused elsewhere in your installation. Remember to align the studs to make cable installation easier. Continue installing the membrane, removing the release liner and embedding the adhesive side to the substrate. The DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS installation is now complete. Heating cables must be installed by a qualified person in accordance with the Installation Handbook and with the National Electrical Code or Canadian Electrical Code Part 1 as applicable. All electrical connections must be made by a qualified person according to the electrical and building codes effective in your region. The electrical circuit for the heating cable has been turned off. A dedicated circuit has been run to the thermostat electrical box. A branch circuit, taken from an existing circuit supplying power to one or more fixed room heaters, would have been acceptable as well, as long as its rating does not exceed 30 amperes, and that the branch circuit cable is the same conductor size as the main circuit. The total current from all branch circuits cannot exceed 80% of the breaker limit. In this application, we will use the DITRA-HEAT ERT thermostat, mounted on a double-gang electrical box with a single-gang mud ring. A single-gang deep electrical box or a double-gang electrical box with a single-gang mud ring is recommended to provide room for the wiring. The junction box must be sized according to the electrical code in your region and must consider the use of pigtails and the space occupied by the rear section of the thermostat. In this installation, 2 sections of conduit were run from the electrical box to the base of the wall to protect the heating cable cold lead and floor temperature sensors. The heating cable cold lead will be run through a conduit, while the floor temperature sensors need to be threaded either inside the same conduit as the cold lead or in a separate conduit. In order to ensure that the heating cable quality remains unchanged throughout the installation process, a series of tests are conducted before the cable installation, after cable installation, and after tile installation. Each heating cable is subject to quality control. However, damage may happen after the product leaves the factory. Measurements are compared with factory values and recorded in the heating cable tests log. The owner must submit a copy of the completed tests log with the warranty registration card to Schluter Systems and retain the log for warranty purposes. The first series of tests is performed before removing the cable from the spool. If a break or damage is detected during the tests, return the heating cable to the original place of purchase. First is the heating cable conductor resistance test, which is required for warranty coverage. Connect an ohm meter or multimeter to the heating cable power leads to determine the conductor resistance. Verify that the measured resistance is within 10% of the factory resistance value printed on the spool. Record the factory value and reading in the log. Test 2 is to check for continuity between the heating cable conductor and ground braid. This test is also required for warranty coverage. Connect an ohm meter or multimeter to one of the heating cable power leads and the ground braid. If there is no continuity and the test is successful, the multimeter will display either OL for overload or I for infinity, or an equivalent reading, depending on the meter used. Record the reading in the log. Test 3 is to check the heating cable conductor insulation. This test is not required but is recommended. If it is completed and submitted with the tests log, the owner will receive an extended heating cable warranty. The insulation resistance test is performed to make sure there are no small breaks in the cable insulation, which may not be detected during the continuity test. Even small breaks can cause current leakage to ground, which would cause the GFCI to disable the floor heating system. Connect a megohm meter set to 1000 volts to one of the heating cable power leads and the ground braid. The resistance measurement must be greater than 1 gigaohm or 1000 megaohms. Record the reading in the log. If the heating cable passes all 3 tests, it can be installed. These tests will be repeated to verify the cable is not damaged during the installation process. Strip the ends of the floor temperature sensors. Test the floor temperature sensors using an ohm meter or multimeter to verify accuracy prior to installation. The resistance will vary according to the ambient temperature. This test is also required for warranty coverage. Connect the meter to the sensor leads and compare the measurement with the expected values in the heating cable tests log. Record the actual temperature and measured resistances in the tests log. We have already selected the cable length that most closely matches, but does not exceed the area to be heated for our particular application using the DITRA-HEAT estimator. The heating cables may be installed to produce customized zones or throughout the room. Unlike the membrane, heating cables must be spaced a minimum of 2 inches from partitions and fixed cabinets, 8 inches from other heat sources, such as baseboard heaters, other fixed heating devices, or fireplaces, 7 inches from the center line of toilet drains, and 4 inches from plumbing drains and forced air heating vents. Thread the heating cable cold lead through the designated conduit from the base of the wall to the thermostat electrical box. Thread the floor temperature sensors as well. Mark where the factory cold lead splice will be placed. Install the splice. Cut the membrane and subfloor if required, and insert the splice. It may be necessary to temporarily secure the splice to the floor with adhesive, such as Curdy Fix or hot glue. Embed the heating cables between studs, making sure to leave space for the floor temperature sensors near the thermostat. A wood float can be used to help speed up the process, but use care not to damage the cable. A roller may also be useful to embed the cables. For both 120 and 240 volt applications, the standard spacing between cable runs is 3 studs, or 3 5/8 inch. Cable may also be spaced at continuously alternating 3-stud, 2-stud intervals in isolated areas or over the entire floor. This practice may be desirable to increase heat output or to consume more cable length in a given area. The heating cable may not touch or cross itself or another heating cable. If you get stuck, simply remove and reapply the cable in a different pattern. The heating cable should never be cut or modified in any way. This would change the cable resistance, will cause damage to the cable, and could cause cable overheating. Keep in mind the spacing requirements from fixtures, heating sources, and plumbing drains. Verify that the heating cable is embedded between studs and the membrane throughout its length. The heating cable installation is now complete. Repeat the 3 heating cable tests to verify the cable was not damaged during installation. The floor temperature sensor is installed within the tile bond coat. 2 sensors are supplied in the heating cable box. Both sensors are installed, while only one is connected to the thermostat. In this case, if the first sensor is damaged, then the second sensor can be easily connected to the thermostat without removing tiles. Install the temperature sensors so the tip of each sensor is located in the middle of a 3-stud cable run. The sensors must be at least 12 inches from the wall. Run the sensor to the desired location and secure the tip in between pucks. Do not overlap or cross the heating cable. Fasten a metal protection plate at the base of the wall to help prevent damage to the cables if a baseboard will be installed. The installation of the heating cable and floor temperature sensors is now complete. Tile is installed over DITRA-HEAT-PS and DITRA-HEAT-DUO-PS using any of our Schluter thin-set mortars or unmodified thin-set mortar. Fill the matting with thin-set mortar and comb additional mortar using a trowel that is appropriate for the size of the tile. While the heating cable is protected by the matting, be careful not to damage the cable with the notched trowel. It is always recommended to back butter tiles to help ensure proper coverage. Solidly embed the tiles in the setting material, making sure to observe the open time of the mortar. Occasionally lift a tile to check for proper coverage. Repeat the heating cable and floor temperature sensor tests to verify the cable was not damaged during tile installation. Finally, the thermostat is installed and connections are made. This video demonstrates the installation of the DITRA-HEAT ERT thermostat. As a reminder, the power supply must be shut off and all electrical connections, including grounding the heating cable, must be made by a qualified person, according to the electrical and building codes effective in your region. Remove the back cover clip. Remove the faceplate from the thermostat power base by loosening the screw and tilting the thermostat upward. Loosen the screws until they stop. Refer to the back of the thermostat for proper wiring configuration. Insert the electrical line wires into the line terminals. Secure the wires by tightening the screws. Next, insert the heating cable conductors into the load terminals. Since there is no polarity, either heating cable conductor can be connected to either load terminal. Secure the conductors by tightening the screws. Replace the back cover clip. Make sure to ground the heating cable ground braid. Roll up the extra floor temperature sensor and secure in the junction box. Thread the floor temperature sensors through the opening at the bottom right of the thermostat power base. Fold the rest of the wires and set them neatly into the electrical box. Align and secure the thermostat power base to the electrical box. Insert the floor temperature sensor wires into terminals C and D. The sensors have no polarity and can be interchanged between these two terminals. Tighten the screws to secure the wires. The power, heating cable, and floor temperature sensor connections are now complete. Finish the installation by replacing the thermostat faceplate and tightening the screw at the bottom of the unit. Remove the protective film from the face of the thermostat. The DITRA-HEAT-PS is an electric floor warming system that is an easy peel-and-stick application that also incorporates uncoupling technology to ensure that floors aren't susceptible to cracked tiles and grout. The DITRA-HEAT-PS system is the ideal solution for bringing comfort to any tiled floor. If you still have questions, please contact our customer support specialists. For more information on Schluter products, visit schluter.com or check out our YouTube channel to view our videos.